Today's the grand opening ceremony for the $4 billion Panasonic plant. This plant will bring thousands of jobs to DeSoto, as well as help the town's growth and development. Let's get back out to my co-anchor Taylor Hemness there ahead of this ceremony this morning of sorts. Taylor, good morning.
Yeah, Lindsay, good morning. I wish, and we're going to do this more throughout the morning, I may kind of step over and show you what we're looking at this morning, because there's a lot of activity to be seen this morning. I was surprised. I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first time on site here at the plant. I didn't know what to expect as far as activity. We have learned this morning, by the way, that production has already begun. So I don't know what extent of this is here because of the grand opening and what it's because it's a working plant. We thought that production was not going to start for another couple of weeks until later this month. I was corrected this morning and told by one of the PR people here on site that production actually began last week. So this is a working plant and their grand opening is happening today. Let's talk about some of the numbers here, because there are lots of numbers to go around with this particular plant and the impact it's going to have on the state moving forward. The plant was announced 3 years ago, as you know, in 2022. Promised to bring about 4,000 jobs to this location. Cost around $4 billion to build. The city says sales tax revenue has increased by 100%. Pretty good since 2022. The city says that's because of construction activity that's been going on here at Panasonic. Franchise fees are collected by the city based on how much power is consumed by this massive facility here over my left shoulder. Evergy predicts $500,000 in those fees just in this first year alone. A massive, massive impact because of the work being done, just because of the work being done here at this plant. Now, Olivia Acree was here live with me just a little bit ago. She'll join me again next hour to talk about this because she's put a lot of coverage into this. But she talked about tax incentives tied to this, which was one of the major talking points with the creation of this plant, of course. The Kansas legislature passed Senate Bill 347 tied to this. It's called the Attracting Powerful Economic Expansion Act. That's a mouthful. That's why they call it APEX. That was done in 2022. The goal, of course, was to create tools for success in Kansas, competing for large, literally, economic development projects. APEX funding's mechanism provides tax incentives for firms to agree to invest at least $1 billion in Kansas within a 5-year period. So this is the biggest of the big when it comes to the offers that are being made to large companies that want to make production promises here in the Sunflower State. Panasonic could earn $6.8 billion in federal tax incentives from the Inflation Reduction Act. Kansas's total APEX investment is $829.2 million. Obviously, a pretty penny to be tied to this from the state. But the Kansas Department of Commerce believes that every dollar of Kansas APEX incentives will generate about $26 of private investment. That is a massive potential return on investment for the state. DeSoto City Council approved a development agreement with Panasonic as well, offering a 25% reduction in water and sewer utilities, a 50% reduction in building permit fees, and a 20-year tax increment financing incentive, or TIF. We're familiar with that term. The city projects being supported by Panasonic city projects, I should say, include the redevelopment of HTE of the former Sunflower Army ammunition plant, significant infrastructure and services to support the new facility, and future growth in the area. Panasonic will also be required to have an annual payment of $800,000 to fund the operation of a new fire station, police services, and road maintenance in DeSoto. Some of the TIF will also go to the school district, which is USD 232. So the money going back and forth here is obviously something to take note of how the state is offering these programs to bring large production facilities to the state, and also how the city is reaching out. But those numbers that DeSoto is going to continue to invest, or Panasonic is going to invest in DeSoto here, cannot be dismissed either. There's a lot of money going back into the community and the state from this location. We are not stopping our coverage this morning once we get to go in and walk in the doors. We're going to continue those conversations and find out exactly what those dollars look like in the days and weeks and months and years to come, because you can't start something like this without projecting decades into the future potentially. That's definitely what DeSoto, Panasonic, and the entire state of Kansas is hoping for. Lindsay, back to you.
All right, Taylor, thank you very much.